Namo Namaha Bhaktam Sarvesham Hardam Swagatam. Welcome back to the channel Sanskrit Sopanam. I hope you are doing great. I am also good. And continuing with the videos on Krit suffixes. So if you are new to this video, in the past few videos we have covered the most commonly used Krit suffixes. And what are these suffixes? So these are the suffixes in Sanskrit that create a new pratipadika, that create a new namapada from a dhatu, from a verbal root. As for this particular video, again we are taking up three very commonly used Krit suffixes. So those are twa, lyap and tomun. So these are the suffixes that we very frequently used in any shastra that we read. So whether it is a Mahabharata, Ramayana, any Subhashitam or Bhagavad Gita, we very frequently use these suffixes. So in this video, we will learn how these suffixes actually modify a dhatu to create a new pratipadika or whatever they create, as we will see in the video. So without wasting any more time, let's quickly dive in today's video. Okay, so in this part 7 of Krit suffixes, the Krit suffixes that we are covering today, they are a bit special. Why? Because they create a indeclinable. They create a avyaya from a dhatu. So far what we have seen is these Krit suffixes, they create a new pratipadika, right? And then that pratipadika is generally used as an adjective to some main namapada. Okay. But these three suffixes that we are covering today, they do not create a pratipadika. They create a avyaya. They create a indeclinable from a dhatu. So anyways, let us see our first suffix for today, that is twa suffix. Okay. And if we check the details of twa suffix, so what does it denote? It denotes this meaning after doing the action or having done the action. Okay. What are the ith letters? So ka, this kakara, this is the ith letter. So what remains is the main content, twa. So twa is what gets added to the dhatu. This is the main content. Okay. And then what are the required modifications? So because our suffix here has a ka as ith letter, so we know due to ka as ith, the vriddhi and guna, they are prohibited. So no vriddhi, no guna. And then you also see the suffix, rather the main content of suffix, since it is starting with a ta, it is starting with a consonant. So this optional it agama rule, this can apply. So I hope you remember this it agama rule, that for it agama to happen, there are two conditions. One, the suffix has to satisfy, and one, dhatu has to satisfy. So the condition that suffix has to satisfy is the main content of the suffix. It can start with any consonant except ya, except yakara. So if the main content of suffix is starting with any consonant except yakara, then that suffix is qualified to get this it agama. Okay, so out of the two conditions for it agama, the condition that this suffix has to satisfy, that is satisfied here. That the main content of suffix is starting with any consonant except ya, yakara. Okay, so for this twa suffix, vriddhi and guna are prohibited and optional it agama is possible. So I hope this is clear. And see, what is the use of twa? So this suffix is used to denote the previous action where there are two actions that are done by same agent. So for example, a boy after eating, he studies. Okay, so see, a boy is performing two actions. He is eating and he is studying. So a boy after eating studies. So this after eating, after doing the action, or the boy having eaten studies. So having done the action. So this previous action is denoted by this twa suffix, and the same thing is denoted by the next suffix also, the lyap suffix. But more about it later. First let us see a few examples of this suffix. Okay, and anyways, this is a very common suffix. So all of you are aware of this, what this suffix does. So we have this namapada patitva, and patitva, this means after studying or having studied. So that is this patitva. And how we are getting this patitva? So pat dhatu. Very easily you can spot the dhatu. So pat dhatu, this is being modified using twa suffix. And now for this twa suffix, we know vriddhi and guna, they are prohibited. So no change we have to do. And now whether it agama will happen or not, that depends on dhatu. That for it agama to happen, one condition dhatu has to satisfy and one condition suffix has to satisfy. The suffix has already satisfied its condition, but dhatu has to be set dhatu in order for it agama to happen. And since pat dhatu, this is a set dhatu, so it agama will happen. So what we will get is, we have this pat and we will get this e. And that is what this it agama is, right? An additional risva e between dhatu and suffix. So pat plus e, and for twa we know the main content is twa. And now we are going to simply combine them together. We will check if any sandhi is happening. There is no special sandhi that is happening. So we are just going to combine them together. So pat-itva becomes patitva, which means after studying or having studied. And just remember this point that this patitva, this is an avyaya. Because twa, lyap, tumun, all the suffixes that we are going to see today, they create a avyaya, they create a indeclinable. Whether you are using it for a pullinga or a strilinga or prathama vibhakti or panchami vibhakti, bahuvachan, ekvachan, doesn't matter. Patitva, this stays the same because this is an avyaya. Okay, so far so clear. Now let us see few more examples. So now we have this pada jnatva. And jnatva means after knowing or having known. And this jnatva, a lot of you can guess, this is coming from nya dhatu. Nya dhatu again means to know. And here we are modifying this dhatu using twa pratyaya. So vriddhi and guna, they are prohibited. So no change and optional it agama. This is also not possible. Why? Because this nya dhatu, this is a anit dhatu. Okay. So what? We are simply going to combine nya and from twa we get this twa. We are simply going to combine them together. And we get this pada jnatva, after knowing, having known. Okay, in that sense. So an easy example. So now let us see another example, viditva. And see, viditva also means after knowing, having known. Because the dhatu is vid dhatu. And just like nya dhatu, that means to know, this vid dhatu also means to know. Okay, so basically for a same meaning, we have multiple options in our dhatu pata. So just as nya dhatu, this vid dhatu also means to know, to understand. So vriddhi and guna are prohibited. So we are just going to check if it agama is possible or not. And this vid dhatu, this is a set dhatu. Just like pat, this is also a set dhatu. So it agama will happen. Due to which you get this risv e between the dhatu and the suffix. Okay, and now we are simply going to combine all three together. So with itva, this is viditva. This is the pada that we get. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Now let us move on to another example. And now again we have a very simple example, shrutva. The dhatu is shru dhatu. Shru dhatu means to hear. And we are modifying this dhatu using twa suffix. Again, vriddhi guna prohibited. And optional it agama. This is also not possible because this shru dhatu also is a anit dhatu. So for anit dhatu, it agama does not happen. So shuru will remain as such, and from twa we get this as the main content. We are simply going to combine them together. We get the pada shrutva, after hearing, having heard. So if we have any sentence like after hearing anything I forget. So kinchitapi shrutva aham vismarami. Okay, so kinchitapi shrutva, after hearing anything aham vismarami, I forget. So it can be used like this. Okay, now let us take another examples. And here we have the pada tyaktva. And we get this pada tyaktva from tyaj dhatu. Tyaj dhatu means to abandon, right? So tyaj dhatu modified using twa suffix. And since this tyaj is also an anit dhatu, so it agama also is not possible. So we are going to simply combine them together, but we will check for any sandhi if it is happening or not. And between tyaj and twa, there is a sandhi possibility. That is choho kuhu sandhi, kutva sandhi. Due to which this tyaj, this will change into tyag. Okay, basically due to this sandhi, the cha varga consonant changes into the ka varga consonant. So this is ja, cha, cha, ja. So it will change into ka, kha, ga. Okay, so tyaj, this changes into tyag. So we have tyag plus twa. And then again another sandhi is going to happen. That is chartva sandhi, which is commonly known with its sutra name as kharicha. So due to this chartva sandhi, this tyag, this is further going to change into tyak. Basically under this sandhi, the consonant that we have is replaced with the prathama vyanjana of that varga, the first consonant of that varga. So tyag, this changes into tyak. Okay, chartva sandhi. And then again we have this twa. And now no more sandhi is possible. So we are finally going to combine these two. Tyak plus twa, we get this final product as tyaktva, after abandoning, having abandoned. Okay, so I deliberately keep few examples like this because otherwise all the rest of the examples, they are pretty straightforward. But with these examples, there are one or two sandhi rules that apply. Okay, so you just need to remember those rules. But I hope from tyaj dhatu, how we get tyaktva, this is clear. First we have this choho kuhu sandhi, due to which tyaj becomes tyag. And then we have this kharicha sandhi, due to which tyag becomes tyak. And then it finally combines with twa, becomes tyaktva. Okay, again all the sandhi examples also we have seen in our previous video. So I hope you remember all of that. And now again, let us see this example, drishtva. Okay, drishtva tu pandavanikam vyudham duryodhanastada. So this very pada is seen in the initial shlokas of Bhagavad Gita. Drishtva means after seeing or having seen. Okay, And this of course is coming from drish dhatu. Drish dhatu means to see. And this is being modified using twa suffix. Okay, and since this drish dhatu also is a anit dhatu, so this optional it agama also is not possible. So vriddhi and guna, they are already prohibited. Optional it agama, this is also not going to happen. So we are simply going to combine them together. And of course, we will check if any sandhi is happening or not. And there is a shatvam sandhi that is happening. And this sandhi, basically, there are few special dhatus for which the last letter that is replaced with the shakara. Okay, so this is a shatvam sandhi that applies to few special dhatus. And as we saw that the last letter of this dhatu is replaced with this shakara. Okay, so we get this drish and then we get this twa. And now again another sandhi is going to happen. And that is shtutva sandhi. That when any ta varga is in combination with sha or any ta varga, so this ta varga also changes into ta varga. Okay, so basically this ta is replaced with this ta. That is due to the shtutva sandhi. And now we are going to combine them together. So we combine drish and we combine twa. So we get this word drishtva, after seeing, having seen. Okay, and again I deliberately keep this example because a lot of time we get this confusion that from this drish dhatu, how we are getting drishtva. So now you know the reasons that when we combine, sandhi rules happen. And that is exactly what we see here. That first this drish dhatu changes into drish due to shatvam sandhi. And then this twa, this takara changes into twa due to shtutva sandhi. And then we finally combine drish and twa. This becomes drishtva, after seeing, having seen. Okay. So I hope all these examples, they are making sense. And we will take one more example. And our example pada is labdhva. And labdhva, this means after gaining, having gained. And this labdhva, this is coming from labh dhatu. Okay, a lot of you will be familiar with this dhatu. Labh dhatu means to gain, to get something, right? And we are again going to modify this dhatu using twa suffix. And again, vriddhi and guna, they are prohibited. And optional it agama, this also is not possible. Why? Because labh dhatu is a anit dhatu. So it agama also not possible. So we just have this labh plus we are going to modify it with this twa. Okay, so before combining them, we are going to check if any sandhi is possible. And again, there is one sandhi that is happening. That is dhatvam sandhi. And due to this dhatvam sandhi, this takara, this will change into dha. Okay, that is why the name is dhatvam sandhi. Okay, so this twa changes into dhwa. And here, as a dhatu, we have labh. And then again, before combining them, we have yet another sandhi that is possible. And that is jastva sandhi. And due to this jastva sandhi, this bha of labh, this will change into labh. Why? Because jastva sandhi is this, that the consonant in question, this changes into the C3, the third consonant of its varga. So labh, this changes into pa bha ba, this ba, labh. So we have labh and then we have dhwa. Okay, so again I hope both the sandhi rules are clear. That first, due to dhatvam sandhi, this ta changes into dha. So it becomes labh plus dhwa. And then due to jastva sandhi, this labh changes into labh. And then we finally combine them together and we get this pada labdhva. Labdhva, that means after gaining, having gained. And these many examples are enough for us to understand this twa suffix. Okay, and now very similar to this twa suffix, we have another suffix that is lyap suffix. Okay, so lyap suffix is exactly similar to twa suffix. The only difference between them is this lyap suffix is used when the dhatu is accompanied with a prefix, with a upsarga. So whenever a dhatu has a upsarga, a prefix, then twa suffix is substituted by this lyap suffix. Okay, and what does it denote? So since it is a substitute for twa suffix, so what does it denote? That is similar, after doing, having done. Okay, for this lyap suffix, the it letters are la, this lakara, and pa, this pakara. And whatever remains, this ya, this is the main content of the suffix. This is what gets added to the dhatu. And now what are the required modifications of this suffix? So pay attention that I am mentioning vriddhi and guna, they are prohibited. But we know that they are prohibited only when you have ka as an it letter, right? What we saw in the previous example, twa. So there we had this ka as an it letter. So ka as an it letter, vriddhi and guna are prohibited. But this suffix, lyap suffix, does not have a ka. So why vriddhi and guna are prohibited? So this is because, as I mentioned, this lyap suffix, think of it like a substitute for this twa suffix. Okay. And since it is a substitute for twa suffix, so that same modification that happened with twa, the vriddhi and guna, they were prohibited. So this continues here also. So for lep suffix also, vriddhi and guna, they are prohibited. Okay, so you have to remember this point. Okay, and apart from that, because it has a pa, a pakara as a it letter. So we know this rule that due to pa as it letter, this additional ta for all the dhatus that are ending with short vowel. So if any dhatu is ending with a short vowel, a risva swara, suppose G. So this is ending with this E, risva swara. So for such kind of dhatus, you will have an additional ta between dhatu and suffix. Okay. So I hope you remember this rule which happens due to pa as it letter. Okay. And if I ask you whether it agama is possible or not. So just by looking at this main content of the suffix ya, you can tell me that it agama, that is not possible. Why? Because the suffix is not satisfying its condition. Suffix has to start with any consonant except ya. And this particular lep suffix has ya as the main content. So it agama is not possible. Okay, so see, it is not going to matter whether the dhatu is set or anit, because the suffix itself has not satisfied the condition, and for it agama to happen, both of them has to satisfy the condition, the suffix and the dhatu. So since one condition is already not met, so it agama is not going to happen for lep suffix. Now let us directly see few examples. And the very first pada we see is anubhuya. Anubhuya. This means after experiencing, having experienced. So see, when we are using this lep suffix, so you already know that there is a prefix, there is a upsarga with the dhatu, right? So whenever you see such a pada, you try to spot the upsarga first. So just by looking at this anubhuya, a lot of you can spot that, okay, anu, this is the prefix. Okay, and then what remains is this bhu. So this bhu is the dhatu. Okay, because we know this ya we are getting from this lep suffix. All you have to do is you have to remember the 22 prefixes, 22 upsargas. So whenever you see any padas, you can first remove the upsarga and then you will arrive at the dhatu very easily. Okay, but anyways, anubhuya. So this is coming from bhu dhatu. And bhu dhatu means to be, right? To be, to become. And when we have this upsarga anu, so the meaning changes. The meaning becomes to experience. Because anubhu, from this combination only we get anubhava. And anubhava, this is the Sanskrit word for experience, right? So even though the meaning of bhu dhatu is to be or become, but with this special prefix anu, the meaning becomes to experience. So anu plus bhu. And we are of course modifying this combination using lep suffix. So now vriddhi and guna again are prohibited. So nothing we have to change in the dhatu. And then since our dhatu is ending with a dirgha vowel, long vowel, so this rule also will not apply. So we have anu plus bhu, and for lep we get this ya as the main content. So then we simply combine them together. So we have anu bhu ya. So this is the pratipadika. Let me clear this. This is the pratipadika. This is the pada that we get anu bhu ya after experiencing, having experienced. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Let us take another example. So now we have this pada anusritya. And anusritya, this means after following, having followed. You can very clearly see that the upsarga is same, anu. So what is the dhatu here? So it is sri dhatu. Okay, a lot of you may guess the dhatu is srit, because then you have this ya that we get from lep. But the dhatu is sri dhatu. And sri dhatu, just like gam dhatu, means to go. When a dhatu means to go, so along with this prefix anu, the meaning becomes following. Okay, going after someone, so following. So this combination, anu plus sri, that means to follow. Okay. And now we are again going to modify this entire combination using lep suffix, because I want to say after following, having followed. Okay, so vriddhi and guna, they are prohibited. And now this additional ta for the dhatus that are ending with a short vowel. So since our sri, this is ending with this ri swara, and this is a risva swara, short vowel. So what you will get is additional ta between the dhatu and the suffix. Okay, so what we finally get is we have this upsarga anu, then we have this dhatu sri, then we have this additional ta, and from lep we get this ya. So we are simply going to combine them together. No sandhi is happening. So this is simply combined into anusritya. This is the pada that we get. Anusritya, after following, having followed. Okay, so I hope this is clear. See, same thing happens with, suppose you take the same dhatu, gam dhatu. Gam dhatu also means to go. So we get this word anugamya. The only difference is we don't get this additional ta, because the dhatu is not ending with any short vowel. So we simply get anu, gam and ya, anugamya. That also means after following, having followed. Now we take another example, avagamya. And again, just by looking at it, first try to identify the upsarga. So if you know those 22 upsargas, you will immediately identify this ava. That this ava is one of the upsarga. So what you are left with this is this gum. And then you have this lyap. So from lyap we get the ya as the main content, right? Now gam dhatu again, as you know, means to go. And with this ava, this prefix, the meaning becomes to understand. Okay, to know something, to understand something. Okay, so see how this prefix is completely changing the meaning of this dhatu. Gam dhatu means to go. But with ava, this prefix, the meaning becomes to understand. Okay, so ava plus gam, to understand. And I want to say after understanding, having understood. So I am using this lyap pratyay. So we have this ya. Again, vriddhi and guna, they are prohibited. And this rule also does not apply because gam dhatu is ending with a consonant. So we are simply going to combine all of them together. So we have avagamya. So this is the pada that we get, avagamya. Okay, so I hope this example is also clear. Let us take another example. And now we have this pada upagamya. Okay, so see, what I am doing is just changing the prefixes. Again, gam dhatu means to go, you know. With this upa, with this prefix, the meaning becomes to go towards someone. Basically, to approach someone or to approach something. So this prefix also is adding a special meaning to this dhatu. See, anu, this means to follow. Why? Because going after someone. So that is to follow. And this upa is going towards someone. So that means to approach someone or something. So upa plus gam, to approach. This is being modified using lyap pratyay. Again, vriddhi and guna prohibited. This also is not happening. So we are simply going to combine them together. So upa plus gam, from this lyap we get this ya. So upagamya. This is the pada that we get. Upagamya, after approaching, having approached. Let us take one more example. Vismritya. And vismritya, this means after forgetting or having forgotten. And again, by looking at this pada, can you spot the prefix upsarga? So this V again is a very common upsarga. And then when you remove the upsarga, what you are left is smritya. So can you spot the dhatu? So the dhatu here is smri dhatu. And smri dhatu means to remember. Okay. And with this prefix V, smri, so the meaning completely changes. The meaning becomes to forget. Okay. So again, one of those instances where the upsarga, where the prefixes completely changes the meaning of dhatu. Smri dhatu means to remember. Along with this V, so the meaning becomes to forget. So V plus smr, this is the combination, and we want to say after forgetting. So we are going to use lyap pratyay. Okay, again vriddhi and guna, they are prohibited, but then this rule will apply here because the dhatu is ending with a short vowel, smri. So smri is again ending with this ri swara. So due to this rule, you get an additional ta between the dhatu and the suffix. So what we have is upsarga, dhatu, this additional ta, and ya, the main content of suffix. We are simply going to combine them together. We get vismritya. This is the pada that we get. Vismritya, after forgetting, having forgotten. Okay, and now these many examples are enough for lyap suffix also. So we wrap up the twa and lyap suffix. And now let us take one more suffix that also creates a avyay, a indeclinable from a dhatu. And our last suffix for the day is this tumun suffix. Okay. So let us see the details of the tumun suffix. So what does it denote? So it denotes this sense that to do or fall doing. Basically the purpose of the action or the desire to do that action. So for example, a boy goes to school for studying. So this for studying, that is the purpose of going to school, right? So a boy goes to school for studying. So here for studying, this is being used as a purpose. Or I can say that I want to dance. So I want to dance. So this to dance is the desire. Okay. So this tumun suffix is used to create padas with this meaning, to do or fall doing, to show the purpose or the desire. Okay. So I hope the function is clear. Again, it will get more clear when we take few examples. What are the it letters? So this u and this na, nakara, these are the it letters. So what remains is this tum. And this tum is the main content of suffix. This tum is what gets added to the dhatu. Okay. And now again see, just by looking at this main content, you can see that this is starting again with ta, takara. So this is also starting with any consonant except ya. So this suffix is also satisfying the condition of it agama. That is why I am writing optional it agama. Okay, so this point is clear. And then guna of last ik and guna of penultimate short ik. So as by now you will know, this is the default modification, that if nothing special is happening in the it letters, so this is the default modification that happens for the krit suffixes, that the guna of last ik and the guna of penultimate short ik for the dhatu. Okay, so I hope you remember these modifications, and I also hope you remember this ik. So basically this ik pratyahara, this represents I, U and ri. Okay, all the simple vowels except a and dirgha a. That is what is represented with this pratyahara, ik pratyahara. Okay, so if our dhatu will have ik as the last vowel, so the guna will happen. Or if the dhatu will have short ik as the penultimate, as the second last vowel, then also the guna will happen. So this is the required modifications for this tumun suffix. Okay, I hope this is clear. Now let us take few examples. So we have this pada shrotum, and shrotum, this again means to hear or for hearing. So very easily you can guess the dhatu. It is the shru dhatu. Shru dhatu means to hear. Okay, and we are modifying this dhatu using tumun pratyay. Now guna of last ik. So since our dhatu here has u as the last vowel, and u, this belongs to this ik pratyahara, so the guna will happen. And guna of u is, I hope all of you remember, it is o. So shru, this will become shuru. And then since our dhatu does not have any penultimate vowel, so this modification not possible. And optional it agama, this also not possible, because we saw from the previous examples, this shru dhatu is a anit dhatu. So for anit dhatu, it agama does not happen. So we just have shro. For tumun, we know the main content of this suffix is tum. So we simply combine them together and we get the pada shrotum. Shrotum, to hear, for hearing. Okay, aham shrotum ichhami, I want to hear. Or I can also say aham katham shrotum mandiram gacchami. That I, for hearing the story, aham katham shrotum, for hearing the story, mandiram gacchami. I went to the temple, I go to the temple. Okay, so to hear, for hearing, to show the purpose or to show the desire. In any ways, this shrotum can be used. And just like for the twa and lyap suffix, this shrotum also is an avyay. This is also an indeclinable. So the form and the meaning, this is fixed. Okay, I hope all these points, everything is clear. Let us take few more examples. So now we have this pada pathitum. Okay, balakaha pathitum vidyalayam gacchati. This is the example I took. That boy goes to school for studying. So balakaha pathitum vidyalayam gacchati. So this pathitum is the pada. Again, all of you will notice pat. Here is the dhatu, and we are modifying this dhatu using tumun suffix, and then we are going to see the required modifications. So guna of last ik, not possible, because in our dhatu we don't have any last vowel. And guna of penultimate short ik, this is also not possible, because as the penultimate vowel we have a, right? If you do the varna vichheda, so as the penultimate, as the second last vowel, we have the a, and a does not belong to this ik pratyahara. Okay, so this modification also not possible. But optional it agama, this is possible, because pat dhatu we know is a set dhatu. So what you have is, we have pat, due to it agama we get this e, and then from tumun we have this tum, and then we are simply going to combine them together. We get the pada pathitum, to study, for studying. Okay, so I hope this example is also clear. And now let us see another example, jetum. So jetum is to conquer, for conquering. Okay, why? Because this is coming from the dhatu ji dhatu. Ji dhatu means to win, to conquer in that sense, right? This dhatu we are modifying using tumun suffix. Okay, now the required modifications. So the guna of last ik. As the last vowel we have this e swara. Okay, and this e belongs to this ik pratyahara. So the guna will happen. The guna of e is a. So due to this g, this will modify into j. Okay, so this modification is taken care of. Then guna of penultimate short ik not possible, because our dhatu does not have any penultimate vowel. Optional it agama, this also not possible, because this g dhatu is also a anit dhatu. So this it agama also not possible. So we have this j, and then we have this tum, and we are then simply going to combine them together. We get this pada jetum, to conquer or for conquering. Okay, I hope this example is also clear. Okay, and now moving on, we have this pada vaktum. Vaktum means to speak, for speaking. Aham vaktum na shaknomi, I am unable to speak. So vaktum means to speak. Okay, and this is coming from vach dhatu, because vach dhatu means to say, to speak, right? And we are modifying this dhatu using our tumun suffix. Okay, again guna of last ik not possible, guna of penultimate short ik also not possible. And optional it agama, this is also not possible, because the vach dhatu being used here, this is a anit dhatu. So it agama also not possible. So we are simply going to combine them together. So from tumun, as the main content, we get this tum. Okay, so we are simply going to combine them together. But before combining, we again check for any sandhi if it is happening. And here again, chohu kuhu, that sandhi is happening, the kutvam sandhi. Due to which this vach, this chakara of vach, this will change into vak. Okay, chohu kuhu, the cha varga changes into ka varga due to certain conditions. So vach changes into vak, and from tumun we have this tum. And now we are going to combine them together because no more sandhi is possible. And so we get the pada vaktum. So how from vach dhatu we are getting vaktum? So now you know that this sandhi is happening before combining them. So cha is changing into ka. So vaktum. So I hope this example is also clear. Now let us move on and take another example. We have this veditum. Okay, veditum is to know or for knowing. And by looking at this pada, a lot of you may guess the dhatu, because to know, we know this dhatu, that is vid dhatu. And again, we are modifying this dhatu using our tumun suffix. Okay, so we'll check for any required modifications. Guna of last ik, not possible, because as the last letter we have a consonant. Guna of penultimate short ik, so this is possible. So we have this va, e, and then we have this da. So we have this e as the penultimate letter. And this e also is a short ik, it is a risva swara. So the guna will happen, and the guna of E is A, as you already know. So this vid, this will change into ved. Okay, and now optional it agama, this is possible because this vid dhatu is a set dhatu. So you remember the previous example, viditva. So vid dhatu is a set dhatu, so it agama is possible, so it will happen. So you have ved, then you have E, and then from tumun you get this tum. And now finally you are going to combine all of them together. So we get the pada veditum. Veditum means to know or for knowing. Okay, in that sense. So see, once you know the required modifications and the set patterns, set rules, then how easy it becomes to create any pada from any dhatu, from vid. Now you know why it is exactly this veditum. But anyways, let us move on and take one last example, bhavitum. And bhavitum means to be or for being. This is coming from bhu dhatu. Okay, so we are modifying this dhatu here with our tumun suffix. So now let us check required modifications. So guna of last ik, this is possible because as the last letter we have this dirgha u. Okay, so since dirgha u also belongs to this ik pratyahara, so the guna will happen. And guna of dirgha u also is o. Okay, so risva u, dirgha u, any u, the guna is o. Hu, this will change into bho, right? And then guna of penultimate short ik, not possible because our dhatu does not have any penultimate vowel, right? And lastly, optional it agama. So this is also possible because our bhu dhatu also, this is also a set dhatu. So this it agama will happen. So you will have e between the dhatu and the suffix. And for suffix, we get this tum. And now we will combine them together. But now see, there is a sandhi that is possible between bho and e. And if you remember, this is a yanta vanta desha sandhi, ayadi sandhi. So under this ayadi sandhi, if o is followed by any swara, so in place of this o, you get this av. So this bho will become bhav. And then you have this e, and then you have this tum, right? Okay, and since no more sandhi is possible now, so we are finally going to combine them together. So bhavitum. So this is the pada that we get. From bhu dhatu, we get this bhavitum. That means to be or for being. Okay, and with this, we wrap up our entire video. So, all the three suffixes, twa, lyap and tumun. So, I hope you remember this point, that the only difference between these suffixes and rest of the krit suffixes that we have covered is, these three suffixes, they create a avyay, a indeclinable from a dhatu. Okay, so their end product is an indeclinable, a avyay, while the rest of krit suffixes that we have seen so far, or we will see later also, they create a pratipadika from a dhatu. Okay, that is the only difference. Otherwise, there are specific rules and everything. So I hope everything was clear. If you have any doubt, you can rewind these videos. And again, with bit more practice, try and find the words on your own and try to understand how from this dhatu you are getting this words. Now you have all the rules and everything. So it's just your own practice that is going to clear your any further doubts that you have. Okay, so I hope you had fun, you learned something. I'll meet you in another video with another set of suffixes that are left. Until then, stay awesome, stay happy, keep learning Sanskrit. Vayam punha milamaha. Dhanyavad.